What is up, guys? My name is Mackenzie, and this is week 8 out of 12 in my 12 and 12 Design to Code challenge. So in this episode, I'm taking the portfolio design I made last week, and I'm going to show you how to go about turning that into the front end HTML and CSS. So let's go. All right, guys, so we are going to go ahead and turn this PSD into the front end HTML and CSS. Just like in the previous episodes, I've already gone ahead and done a bit of setup. So let me show you what I've set up so far. So in Sublime Text, I created a directory called Portfolio. Inside that directory, I set up the SCSS directory, and I am using CodeKit to compile the SCSS into the CSS that we are importing into the index.html file. This index.html is where we're going to write our HTML code for this page. And then the CSS or the SCSS we're going to write in the styles.scss file. One additional thing is I've already gone ahead and exported the SVGs that I'm going to use for the background images on the various blocks. You can see I added those to the images directory. And then inside of the styles.scss, I've gone ahead and done a tiny bit of setup. I've set up the font family, the body to use the Proxima Nova font, and all the headers to use the Lust font. And then I set up the star box sizing equals border box. And then inside of the index.html file, I'm importing normalize from the normalize CDN. And then I'm also importing the CSS file that will be compiled from the SCSS. And finally, I set up Typekit to use those fonts. One note is if you want to use Typekit in order to get the Lust and Proxima Nova font, you will need to set up your own account and grab your own embed code, because this one will not work for you. And then finally, I've opened it up in Chrome, and you can see I have the H1 Hello World, and then over here we have Hello World. So we still have a lot of work to do, but let's get started. So let's go back to the Photoshop file. You can see we have this banner at the top with the logo and this intro text. It is pretty simple, so let's go ahead and set that up. Back in Sublime Text, I'm going to remove this Hello World, and I'm going to create a section tag and add a class of banner and also a class of CF, which stands for Clearfix. Then inside of here, I'm going to create a div with the class of wrapper to wrap everything inside of. And then let's set up the logo. So I'm going to make this as a P tag, and I'm going to say p.logo. And then I'm just going to say MC to match the MC that we have on the logo, which is my initials. And then the title, the designer, coder, maker. That I'm going to wrap in an H1 tag, and I'm going to say designer, and then I'm going to add a period and break tag to make it go to the next line, coder, period, break tag, and then maker, period. So I'm going to save that. Let's go back to Chrome and check it out. So it's very simple, but we need to go ahead and style it. So to begin, let's write the class for the Clearfix. So I'm going to do .cf:(before, .cf:(after), and then I'm going to do content, quotes, and then display of table, and then get out of there, and then I'll do another one, .cf:(after), and I'll do clear both. All right, so that is good for that. Next, I want to write what the wrapper styling, that wrapper class is. If we go back to Photoshop, everything is inside this main column, which is, if you remember, it's 1,000 pixels wide. So that is what we should have our wrapper be. So let's go to wrapper, and I'm going to do width of 1,000 pixels, a max width, let's do 100%, and a margin of 0 and auto. Let's save that, go back to Chrome, just check it out. So you can see it's already taking effect. The wrapper is making it go inside slightly. So the first thing, let's target, let's see, we have the class of banner. So let's target that. Let's do class.banner. We're going to want some padding in here. So I'm going to do padding of 5em on top and bottom, 0 on left and right. And then I want to target the logo, and we're going to float the logo to the left. This is all we are going to do because I want to have the logo outside of the banner, so that way we can use the .logo class in the footer as well. If we add all of our styling for the logo in here, it'd be too specific to use in the footer. And then let's target the H1. First off, I'm going to make the color a dark variable, which we need to write. Let's go ahead and set up those variables. So I want 3 variables. I want that pink color, I want white, and I want that dark color. Or it could also be gray. So let's go back to Photoshop. I'm going to use program called, or an app called Color Snapper 2 to grab these colors. And then I'm just going to paste in what those are. Grab the pink. And white would just be FFF, FFF. All right, so let's make the color of the H1 gray. Then we want to do a text align of right. Font size, this is going to be pretty big at 5M. Font weight, it's already set to 400 based on the H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. That's a mouthful. Font weight is set to 400 there, so we don't need it in our H1 down here. I'm going to do a display of inline. We're going to float this to the right because the logo is floated to the left. And then finally, I'm going to remove the default margin. Okay, so on the white variable, I had a semicolon instead of a colon, so I'll fix that. It's one of the great things about CodeKit. It will alert you to errors. All right, so let's go back to Chrome. This is looking good. So we have this big, bold intro floated to the edge on the right side of the wrapper. Then we have this logo, which doesn't look too great. So let's go ahead and style that. So outside of the banner class, let's create .logo. I'm going to make the background of that pink variable. I'm going to do a border radius of 100%. That way it's a full circle. I'm going to make the width 75 pixels, the height 75 pixels. Then since we want the text to be directly in the middle of the circle, we can do a line height of 75 pixels as well, and then text align of center. Then let's make the color that white, and let's make the font size to be 1.1M. And then finally, we need the font family to be Lust as well. So this is the only scenario where a P tag would be the Lust font. Everything else, it's just in the headings. All right, so I'm going to save that. Let's go back to Chrome and take a look. Beautiful. So let's go back to Photoshop and take a look. So we have this dark background, and then we have each of these, I'm going to call them card, that represent the various portfolio items or the project. So we have one that goes the full width, we have 2 that go half width, and we have 1 that goes a third. So if you think about it, these have 2 different layers on it. We have this background layer with the background image, and then on top of it, we have the slightly transparent color to show through the background image. And then on top, we have the text itself. So we are going to code it just like that. So I'm going to do section with the class of work. Inside of here, I'm going to do another wrapper. Then I'm going to do a .row. So inside of here, let's do a div with the class of card to represent the project card. And then I'm going to do card full for the first one. Then inside of here, let's do one with card inner. And also I'm going to add another class called pink to represent that pink color. Then I'm going to do a P tag. I'm going to say design or resources. And then I'm going to do an H2 tag. And I'm going to say meticulously crafted UI design assets. So let's save that, go back to Chrome and take a look. All right, so it doesn't look bad, but there's no styling to it yet. So let's go ahead and write that. So first off, let's target that work section. The work section is going to have a background of that dark or that gray variable. And then we are going to have padding of 5M on top and bottom and 0 on left and right. So let's save that, take a look. Beautiful, that looks good. So now let's style the actual card. So let's do .card. I'm going to set a background to the white variable. Let's do a border radius of 0.35M. we're going to have a defined height, and I'm going to do 450 pixels on that one. And then I'm going to do a display of table. And then back in the index file, so we have this card, card full, and card inner. So let's write what the card full is. Do .card underscore full, and that I simply want to do width of 100%. Then below that, let's style the card inner. .card inner. So we did a display of table on the card, so I'm going to do a display of table cell and vertical align middle on the card inner. Let's do a height of 100% and a padding. Let's do 1.5 m on top and bottom, and I'm going to do 12% on either side. So if we go back to Chrome and take a look, so it's starting to take shape. So we still need the background image and that pink color to show through as well. And then we need to style what the text looks like. So let's start with that pink color. So if I go back to the index file, remember I added that pink class. So below the card inner, let's do .pink. And what I'm going to do is let's go to Photoshop. Let's select this layer. It's at 60% opacity right now. I'm going to select it or change it to 100%. Then I'm going to use Color Snapper to grab that color. Undo that, and let's go back. So what I'm going to do is do a background of, pull up Color Snapper. So you can set it to grab in hex code or RGB. I'm going to set it to RGBA, so I can paste that in. So RGBA is red, blue, or red, green, blue, and alpha. And I'm going to change the alpha to 0.6, so it's slightly transparent. Let's go back to Chrome. All right, that's looking good. Okay, so for the background images, we are going to have a background image, the background size, and the background position, all unique to each of these. So what I'm thinking is I want to create a mixin for these. So let's go up top under the variables. I'm going to do @mixin, and I'm going to call this background img, so bg_img. And then how this works is we set a couple attributes. So I'm going to do the first one as URL, next one as size, and the final one as position. And then inside of here, we can do background image, URL, and then we'll pull that URL variable. Then let's do background size. We'll set that to the size, and background position, we will set to position. So now down here, what we're going to be able to do is create a class. Since this is going to be on, let's go back to the index. So we're going to need it on this actual card div and the card full. So I'm going to create another class and just say card_1. So under the card full, I'm going to style what that card_1 means. So this is where I'm going to use that mixin. I'm going to do @include background _img. And then what we need to do is just define what each of those attributes were. So the first one was the URL. So I'm going to do .. I'm going to go into the images directory, and I'm going to do design resources .svg. And then I'm not quite sure what the background size, so I'm going to set it to 100% and then 100 pixels and 100 pixels for the position. So I'm going to save that. Let's go to Chrome. So first off, it's repeating. I don't want that. So let's go back to Sublime. Under the display of table on the card class, I'm going to do background repeat, no-repeat. There we go. All right, so let's open up the Chrome inspector. I'm going to grab that card 1 and play with the size and the position a bit. So I don't think I want it as large. Let's try background size of 80%. And then back in Photoshop, remember we have it in this lower right corner. So let's go back to Chrome and mess around with the positioning of it. So that looks pretty good, 280 pixels. Maybe something like that, 20 pixels. Okay, so what we can do is go back to Sublime, change this from 80% or 100% to 80%. Then it was 280 pixels and 20 pixels. So I'm going to save that. Go back to Chrome. Beautiful. So that's looking good. One thing I'm noticing is the corner of the pink class is not rounded like the card itself is. So let's copy that border radius and add that to the pink class as well. That should take care of it. And back in Chrome, it looks good. Okay, so next let's take care of the typography. So in the card inner, let's go inside of there. We have that P tag and the H2. So let's style the P tag. First off, let's make it a font size of 1M. I'm going to do a text transform of uppercase to make it all uppercase. And then I'm going to make it a bold font weight. So font weight 700. Save that, go take a look. Beautiful. And I'm going to also make the color to be white. Then for the H2, actually, you know what? Let's move the color white up into the card inner so that way the H2 and the P both get that. So for the H2, I'm going to make a font size. Let's do maybe 3M. And then let's do a font weight. Actually, we don't need the font weight because that's defined above. I'm just going to remove that margin so it's centered vertically through the display of table cell. Beautiful. All right, that looks pretty good for now. We can always tweak it later. I'm going to move on and create those other ones. So let's go. I'm just going to add some spacing so I can see what I'm working with. So we have this .row class. I'm going to copy this. And then inside of here, we have this card 1, card full. I'm going to change this from card full to card half. And from card 1 to card 2. And then back in Photoshop, it's a design for developers and devs learn design. Okay. So design for developers, and we'll change this to devs learn design. We're going to capitalize the learn and the D in design. So that should be good. And I'm going to duplicate that. So I want to just duplicate the card itself. So this will be half. I'll change this to card 3. Oh, let's also change this from a pink class to a green class. And this one from pink to purple. And then we will change this P to LOL colors and curated color palettes. So let's save that, go and take a look. So you can see everything's kind of breaking right now, which is not great. So let's go back and style that. So first off, let's go above the work section or the work class. I want to define what that row class is. So basically I want to set this to width of 100%. I want a margin bottom of 0 to push down the row below it of 2M. And then I want this to act as a clear fix as well. So I'm going to add and before, and colon before, and colon after. Let's do content, display of table, and then and colon after, clear both. Save that. Next, let's go under the card full, and I'm going to do .card half. So what I want to do here is I want these. See, let's go back to Photoshop. So we have this main column right here that is 1,000 pixels wide. So on this side, we don't want any margin. We only want the margin to be on the inside. So I'm thinking we're going to need a class for the left side and the right side to individually add the correct margin to either side. So first off, let's do the width of the card half. I'm going to try 48% just to start. Might need to tweak that. And then we're going to float that to the left. So let's go to Chrome, take a look. Not going full width, but we don't have any margin on the inside just yet. So let's go back to the index file. So after the card half on the first one, let's do left or class of left, and then we'll do a class of right on the second one. Then I'm going to go back and define what those are. So let's do .left. So on the left, we want a margin right. Let's do 1.5%. And then on the right class, we want a margin left of 1.5%. So save that, go back and take a look. So it is almost there. I love that the margin matches on each of these, but you can see on the right side, it doesn't quite line up. So let's try 48.5 5% width. There we go, that's perfect. All right, so now we just need to define the color classes and also the card number classes. So down here we have pink. Let's do green. Let's go back to Photoshop and grab that color. So let's make it 100%. I'm gonna grab that color, go back, paste that in, background, paste that in, and then I'm gonna change it to 0.6 just like above. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that for the other ones as well. So let's do purple. And we have this blue. All right, so that's good. If we go back to Chrome, sorry, starting to take effect. Beautiful. Let's go back to Sublime. I'm gonna fix everything. Do pink, green, purple, and finally blue. And I'm going to copy this border radius because we want this applied to all of them, but we don't want to duplicate it. There we go. So now all we need to do is define this card 1, card 2, card 3. So I'm going to copy that 4 times. Let's do card 2, card 3, and card 4. All right, so I'm just going to change this one to design for devs.svg. This one was LOL colors, and then this one was Bruce.svg. All right, so let's go to Chrome. Each of these are going to be different, so I'm going to individually play with them and change their size and positioning. So back in Photoshop, we have this design for developers one in the upper left corner. So let's go to Chrome and try to get that correct. So 80% looks a bit small. Oh, you know what? First thing I want to do is we have this one's 450 pixels, but these are quite a bit taller. So back in Sublime, let's see. Let's do it right below the .right class. I'm going to do .tall, and let's make the height 700 pixels. Save that, and now we need to add that class to each of these. So let's do tall. So let's go back to Chrome, take a look. Perfect, that's looking great. So now I just need to play with the positioning of that card. So background size of 80% seems slightly small. Let's try like 130. And then let's just play with the positioning. So we want it to be on the left side and the top. Something like that looks good. 130 might be slightly too large. 120. Maybe 125. Looks pretty good. Let's bring it up slightly. Okay, so background size of 125%, and then negative 170 pixels, negative 205. All right, so card 2, let's do 120%. Back in Sublime and change the pixel. Beautiful. And let's go back to Chrome, inspect the third card, and play with that as well. So this one was quite a bit bigger. Let's try 150%. And then it was in the bottom right corner. And let's play with the positioning. So let's bring it back over. Maybe not quite so much. And then let's lower it as well. That looks pretty good. So let's copy that. So LOL colors is 150%. And the positioning is 40 pixels and 160 pixels. So we can save that. Go back to Chrome. That's looking good. The font size seems slightly small. Let's go back down to the H2, set the font size, try 4M. That looks better. Cool. So now we just need to do this bottom one and then the footer. So let's go ahead and set that up. So back in the index, I'm going to copy this top row, and below that second row, Let's paste that in. So instead of card full, I'm going to do card third. And this is card number 4. And I'll change the pink class to blue. And then it was unicasts and it was designed to code web apps. Beautiful. All right, so back in Chrome, let's play with the positioning of the background image. Actually, you know what? First, we need to define what that card third is. So let's do card underscore third right below the card half class. Let's make it a width of 75 pixels and let's float this to left as well. Or not 75 pixels, 75%. There we go. Okay, so now back in Chrome, I'm gonna right click, inspect element, and let's select the card number 4. Let's bump it up a bit, maybe like 120%. Let's bring it back over slightly, and then let's pull them up. Something like that looks pretty good. Okay, so background size of 120% and then negative 160. So let's go back, card number 4 in Sublime. Change this to 150% and 160. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I do 150? Let's do 120%. There we go. No wonder it was looking weird. All right, this is looking good. So now all we need to do is view more projects, the link right here, and then the footer, and we should be good. So let's go back to the index file. So inside of this row, but outside of the card, let's create another div called view underscore more. Then inside of here, let's add an A tag with a P inside of it. Stub out the P, stub out the A tag, and inside of the P tag, let's write view all projects. So let's save that and go take a look. All right, it's looking pretty ugly right now. Let's fix that. So down below all the color classes, let's do .viewMore. So remember, this was a width of 75%, the third column. So I'm gonna do a width of 25%, float it to the left as well. I'm going to do the same height, 450 pixels, and then I'm going to do a padding left. Let's try 3M, and then let's style what the P tag looks like. So let's do P, and let's try a font size 1.25M. Font weight, let's make it bold, so 700. I need to spell that correctly. Weight. There we go. Since we know the height of the ViewMore div, we can set the line height to 450 pixels as well. That way, View All Projects link is vertically centered. Then let's do a margin of 0 to remove the default margin, and let's change the color to, let's go and grab that. So let's go back to Chrome, take a look. So we have this underline we'll need to get rid of. One thing we have in our design is using the Lust font for the link, and I don't think we should do that. I feel like it should probably use the Proxima Nova, so I'm going to stick with that. So let's go ahead and remove that link. So let's go out of the P tag, do text decoration inside the A, and do none. Beautiful. And I just want to create a hover state, so we need to target the P tag inside of here. Let's change the color to that pink variable. Awesome. Okay, so now all we need to do is that footer. So let's go back to Photoshop, take a look. So we have the logo, and then we have this get in touch with email, and then follow me on Twitter, Dribbble, Instagram. So let's start by setting up the HTML for that. So let's go outside of this section, and I'm going to create a footer. Then inside of here, let's do a wrapper, and let's also add a clearfix class to this wrapper. Okay, so inside of here, let's do p.logo, and we'll just say MC, just like in the header or the banner. Then for the links. What I want to do is put this inside of a UL with a class of clearfix. Then inside of here, let's do a LI. Then inside of the LI, I'm going to do two spans. I'm going to do a span with a class of title. I'm going to say get in touch. Then let's do a span with the class of links. And I'll just do href, add a link. And I'll say email. And then I'm going to duplicate this and change the get in touch to follow me on. And let's change the first link to Twitter. Then after here, I want to do and nbsp semicolon. That is the HTML code for space, because if we just added all these links together, they'd be right up against each other. So copy that, paste it in, change this one to dribble. And let's do it one last time. Remove that last space and change this one to Instagram. All right, so I'm going to save that. Let's go back, take a look. All right, that's looking okay. Let's go ahead and style it. So outside of all this, let's target that footer. Let's do a padding of 3M, top and bottom, 0 on left and right. For the logo, we want to, it's already styled, so all we want to do is float that to the left. And also, let's do a margin of 0 on it. Then on that UL, first, let's do a list style of none to remove the bullet points. Let's do a margin of 0 and a padding top to push it down slightly. Let's do 1M. Then inside of here, let's do the LI. We want to make these display of inline. We want to float the LIs to the left, and we want a margin left of 4M to push them to the side. So I'm going to save that, just go take a look. All right, so that's getting there. Next, let's target the span with the class of title. So I'll do .title. First thing I want to do is text transform uppercase. Let's make the font weight of 700 to make it bold. Font size, this is going to be pretty small, 0.75 M. So I want this to be a display of block, so it's on its own line. And then I'm going to push down the links slightly, so I'm going to do padding bottom of 0.4 M, or 0.5 M, I'm sorry. Then let's style the links. So first thing, let's do font family. These are going to be the Lust font. Next, let's make a font size 1.75 M. Let's just save that and see how it looks for now. Cool, so we need to get rid of the underline, that color. So let's go back inside of the links. Let's target the A. First off, let's change the color to that gray variable. Then let's remove the underline by doing text decoration of none. And let's finally add a hover state. So let's do and hover color of pink. So if we save that, go back and take a look. That's looking pretty good. So let's take a look at what we've done. So we have this banner up top. We have this logo on the left, then the big, bold, beautiful designer, coder, maker. Then below here, we have the various projects set up in this little grid, and you can click to view all projects. And then in the footer, we have the email, Twitter, Dribble, etc. All right, guys, with that, I think we are done. All right, guys, that is all for this one. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you learned a lot from it. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up below. All right, I'll catch you guys next time.